All right, interesting time factor going on with this video. This is the day 46 video. If you'll notice, I'm wearing the exact same shirt as I was wearing in yesterday's video, the day 44/45 video. I'm filming on day 45 about day 46. I don't anticipate anything incredibly entertaining happening on day 46. If it does, I'll tell you in the day 47 video. I wanted to show you the time card just to give you a look into, maybe make it a little clearer by giving a visual about how we get paid per down. I think a lot of people understand if you're on the clock, you're getting paid your wage. Like anyone who had a job, like understands that very easily. Also, if you deal a cash game, you get tips after most hands, and you get chips, and at the end of your shift, you just cash them out at the cage. And like, that's also very easy to understand. I've been talking about downs and time cards and things, so I took a picture of a blank time card, the back half of a blank time card, and I just wanted to show you at Orleans how we do it. It's not the same at every poker series in town. I have no idea what goes on at poker series in other cities, in other states, but I know how it's going on at Orleans. I've been doing it, so I just wanted to show you this time card and give you kind of an example of what it looks like after it's been filled out a little bit. Okay, here's that time card I was talking about. Took a picture of a blank time card. This is the back half. That's why you see on the left it starts at 6:30, but in the beginning of the day, when we get handed a card before the first tournament starts, it usually first has the table number written. That's how you know what table to go to. So, for example, let's say you get handed the time card from the floor and it says table 28. You're starting on table 28. You get chips, you get a deck of cards, you go to table 28 and you start setting up everything. Okay, sometimes, there you go, table 28, that part is set. Sometimes the date is also written. If it's not, you just write it in when you get to the table. There are like those golf pencils, those small pencils in the racks in the table. You write the date. July 9th is the date on which I am making this video. So July 9th, there you go. And then, so that's set, table number, date are set. And then there's the space in the top left that's empty. That is how at Orleans they denote whether it's no limit hold'em, because we get paid a certain down rate for that, or a mixed game tournament, because we get paid a different down rate for that. So if it's blank, that means no limit hold'em. Any table I push into, if it is blank, I usually just make it very clear and write NLHE, no limit hold'em. But if there's anything, and they usually take a red marker and make some kind of a shape, a star, a circle, a smiley face, something, that means it's a tournament that's not hold'em. So we get paid more for those. And again, I'm just very clear. If I'm dealing PLO and I push into a table that has a card that looks like this, I write PLO next to the red star. But anyway, here we go. Here's a time card. You're dealing no limit hold'em. Top left is empty. It's July 9th. It's table 28. You get to the table. You tell the dealer, last hand. You wait for this hand to finish. As soon as the dealer has a second, say the dealer is dealing the pre-flop cards. When the dealer is done dealing the pre-flop cards and people are thinking and acting pre-flop, the dealer hands you the time card and a pencil, and you stand there and you write your name. And then there's no wasted time. So when you sit down, your name's already written. No wasted time. So, say Ty Wigington pushes in at 6:30. So he says last hand. He gets handed the time card and the pencil. He writes his name down. That hand in progress ends. The final hand of the 6 o'clock to 6:30 down. Then he sits down. He deals. And all these names are going to be people who once played for the Mets. So Ty Wigington deals the 6:30 to 7 o'clock down. Okay, next person to push in, John Olerud. He comes in at like 6:55, 7 o'clock. He says last hand. Ty Wigington hands him the time card and the pencil. While John Olerud is waiting, he writes his name down. And then he pushes in when that hand is over. Then say Mike Cameron comes in. Now say there's no push. Got so busy that no one's on break, no one's coming off of break, no one's pushing to force this rotation through the tables. You're just locked in. So Mike Cameron writes his name down at 7:30. No push. He's still there at the 8 o'clock down. He writes his name down there. He's still there for the next down. It's between 8:30 and 9. He sees there's no push coming. He writes his name down again. And then it's like 9:10. He realizes there's still no push coming. He writes his name down again. Sometimes the time card looks like this. Same name several times in a row. There was no push. Then say there finally is a push. Mike Cameron deals the final hand of the 9 o'clock to 9:30 down. Then at 9:30 about, Melvin Mora comes in. He writes his name down. Now say
This table breaks at 9:36. Melvin Mora deals a few hands in the 9:30 to 10 o'clock down, and then that's it. His table breaks. He gets credit for the whole down. It's just a form of run good as a dealer. So, Mike Cameron sat down at 7:30. He dealt for 2 hours at this table. He dealt 4 full downs. He started at 7:30, and he finished at 9:30 when the 9 o'clock down was over. Full 4 downs, and he got paid for it, but he dealt a full 4 downs. Then Melvin Mora came in, sat down at 9:30, and after 3 hands at 9:36, his table broke. Melvin Mora gets paid for the entire 9:30 down. You write your name down, you deal at least 1 hand, and you're good for the down. You either dealt 0 downs or 1. There's no portions. Any portion of a down gets rounded up. So even in this example, when Melvin Mora only deals from 9:30 to 9:36, he gets credit for the entire down.
So there you have it. 2 things I'll add. One is that it would be a very good idea if you're dealing to have a similar like grid for yourself. Say you start at 11 o'clock. Just have like a list, like 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, etc. And every time you go on break, write down what you were dealing. So you can keep track yourself and then check the next day in the binder. If your poker room has one like Orleans, check your downs, and then you can check your pay stub at the end of the pay period. I don't do it exactly like that. It would be much clearer. I do it every time I go on break. I just kind of keep a tally. I have like no limit hold'em, NLHE, written on a piece of paper, and every time I go on break, say I dealt 3 no limit hold'em tournament downs, I just tally 3 lines, and that's it. And every time I go on break, I do it. It does get a little confusing sometimes because sometimes I'm like dealing more than 1 game between breaks, and sometimes I get like half a break, which like officially doesn't mean I got a break. If I dealt like 10 minutes into a down and then my table broke, well, I got credit for that full down, and even though I have like a 15-minute, 20-minute break until I deal something else, it wasn't like a true break. Like, I got credit for dealing that entire half hour. So it gets a little confusing, but I've been pretty good at keeping it straight. And the last thing I'll say, if you're ever working in a place that does it this way, like I've said in a previous video, when you swipe in your ID card and the system, the computer is tracking how long you've been at that table, you don't have to write anything down. If you're doing it this way with time cards, it sounds very simple. Write your name legibly. I get this time card after like, you know, I've been on the clock 5 hours. I get this time card. I'm writing my name down while I'm waiting for the hand in progress to finish, the last hand of the previous dealer. I'm looking at these. Some of them I can't make out any of the letters. Some people just scribble their names really fast. Some people write in like some really difficult to read like form of cursive. Some people just like, I don't know, like the letters are like half on the line and like half below the line, and then the next person who writes his or her name, like those letters are written over them because like they're trying to get it between the lines. I don't understand why so many people care so little about getting paid. It's not a very difficult thing to just write the letters of your name very clearly in a very easy to read print. You would think everybody does this. I would say fewer than half the dealers use this method. But if you ever have to write your name down on a time card in order to get paid, just make it very, very easy to read. And remember, rice is a spoon food.